am Monka. Greetings, my friends, in the love and light of our one infinite Creator, a presence you may feel all around you as we commune this day. Our presence is not an issue, for we have the support of our comrades from an organization you well know. We are here to answer a calling in the mode that we have come to understand somewhat, a probing, so to speak, of the contours of will, the power of the Logos directed towards one's desire and confidence in the avenues of growth that expose what is so fruitful in evolution, what is so marvelous to behold in one's life. Remember, evolution is occurring in your life, your daily events. Call upon this process of threshing and protein reaching. It is, after all, to be accepted that you reflect and embody the Creator's nature. So, the virtues you find within in your diligent seeking towards the upward spiraling light will come to reflect a story of the octave. This is we correct this instrument. This is an area of inquiry that is more and more explored for the drama of the third density veiled consciousness constitutes, in our experience, those most vital and pregnant moments where the mystery of creation yields an insight. You, in your waking life, in your imaginative life, in your despair and your hope, certify and wrap up, so to speak, all of these gifts. To offer them to the Creator as a willing supplicant and partner in the task of exploration, you must therefore have a means to understand your part. This means is your own free will, your own discretion, your own vibratory assessment of what truth looks like from the one eye of the Creator that you are directing. It is not all on your individual shoulders, my friend. It is a task that you work with your brothers and sisters throughout the creation to complete. But for it to be done in the most glorious manner, you must exercise your portion of this test with rigor, with sincerity, with dedication towards what draws your heart forward. Nothing else will do, you see. So we come to our usual caveat. Please discard any thoughts, topics, ideas, yea, vibrations that may cause you to maneuver away from that which feels true and right. This is the Creator's work that you do by merely registering within your honest appraisal of feeling, emotion, resonance, what is for you and what is not. You stand in judgment, my friends. You. And this is work that you can be congratulated for doing diligently, carefully, and honestly. It is in line with the major topic for today, for we would caution you that this alignment of one's will with the Creator's will is the whole object of the journey through creation. You see, there is that sense in which your will is already aligned with that of the Creator. Indeed, you cannot fail to meet a co-creator who is not expressing this will. The drama of manifestation and evolution lies in the distortions, my friends, the deviations from the golden ideal. It is in these deviations that we discover aspects of existence, consciousness, and the Creator's nature. These deviations have a pejorative connotation that is undesired by us of Monka, for all is distortion so long as it is the subject of this illusion. Therefore, please set aside any fretting about whether you wish for that which you should. This normative worrying is a common feature of the seeker's maturity into a mindset and condition of that marvelous and totalizing acceptance that describes the final destination. In other words, my friends, you are all on the right path. And so it is a question of what you shall choose. Now, the interesting feature of this particular creation is that of polarity, an aspect that has been involved in the Creator's discovery of self since what you might call the beginning, however foolishly that word seems. It can often appear that you are at odds with the reckoning that others demonstrate, the vector of energetic expression that you admire personally. This instrument has indeed spent years wondering, where should he direct the beam of his attention, the efforts that seem so frequently to head in a direction where that which is hoped for does not come to pass. Like you, he has little knowledge, little appreciation for how salubrious this failure is. Conditions of exertion will always prompt a discomfort. What you are learning that is so different from the lessons of the previous density is that discomfort is no knock, so to speak, on your trajectory. We offer comfort in this sense, that there is within you a compass, can be read, but it will not simply yield information to he or she who asks on a whim. Polarity requires that you activate your own potential. And this act of bringing into focus the object of desire is a wonderful method by which we offer the concept of guidance. If you are to align your will with the Creator's, you must first accept you of yourself will not find it. You of yourself, an individual having a separate experience, must realize it is not within you, so to speak, that this guidance will manifest. You must reach outside of the small self. You must involve other factors in the vivid and colorful panoply of consciousness. There is no lack, no scarcity, no paucity of resources, but they must be identified as such, and they must call upon you to reach outside that shell that you have decided constitutes the boundaries of your personhood. There's no shame or problem with this. Only persons participate in this social energy complex of third density. Yet, persons are distinguished from logo I by their incompleteness, by their boundaries and limitations. From within your shell, these seem like barriers and obstacles to the fruition you feel deep within. However, they are the very stuff that create a lesson of which you do not partake, but greater levels of consciousness learn from. Let us pause for just one moment and sit with our limitations, with our abbreviated awareness, and feel not simply what it lacks, but what it provides in its denial of the excess of infinity. And let us tune deeper with this instrument. I am Monka. I am Monka, and I appreciate your patience, my friends. We spoke earlier of the alignment and how to feel that it is in place, rather than simply to understand it as a necessary condition of seeking. We offered this idea that we will tune into focus, which is the recognition that help is needed, that the resources that will draw you towards greater awareness lie in a greater nature than you conceive of yourself having at the moment. It is not exactly correct to say that you are incomplete. The sense in which we mean this is in the sense that you think of yourself as merely a person with interests who blinks out of awareness of that purpose for 8 or so hours a day as you intensify the time-space experience. This is all as it should be, and we would offer you a consolidated idea of what we are attempting to point out. As you align your will with the Creator's, who you are will shift. It will never feel in third density as if you are entirely and completely on the beam, so to speak. That would not yield the ferment that promotes the evolutionary upward spiraling light. No. This is where you are in the thick of it. And aligning is work. It is letting go, letting the details of personality fall away as they present themselves as unnecessary, of an older and past version of the self that you are merely accepting to be in this present moment. It is precisely why, my friends, that awareness on now does so much work for you. Now requires no model. Now requires hardly wisdom. Now demands no other thing to come to bear for it to be what it is. It is the very thing that transformation holds, nay, dangles before your gaze and taunts you, so to speak, in a joking manner, to strive towards. What we of the Confederation of Planets, in service to the one infinite Creator, time and time again, attempt to impress upon you of Earth is how much power is embedded in this nowness, this present moment, because it is the asymptotic point at which perspective changes. Perspective is a choice. It is a directionality of the projective nature of consciousness. And you are here in part, not necessarily to manipulate perspective at will, though this is a possibility. And as you clear the lower energy centers, you will find that this possibility presents itself more often, more powerfully. And then alignment will be a process in which you participate more purposefully and with a greater sense of the creative nature of life. But just knowing, just recognizing what perspective entails, this, my friends, is a source of great wisdom, a source of great, careful mediation of creative potential. It offers you the possibility of transformation in terms that might even present themselves as a matter of will. And once you are able to engage the energies of transformation at will through the study and careful invocation of those archetypal principles that underlie your consciousness. This is the way, my friends, that you leap into a new and more magical mode of living. Now, the gist of our speech is becoming clear, is it not? That this ability to shift and change with the shift, to change the subject and thereby change the object of perception. This is inherent in what those of the Confederation have called magic. The ability to shift consciousness at will. And this, my friends, this is the level of activity in which your alignment of your desire with the desire of the Creator, your volition with that of the universal calling of divine will, it is at this level it all comes together. And it need not be so grand as we of Monka make it sound. It can be very subtle. And it starts with a curiosity about the self. And on the service to others path, it involves almost always a curiosity about the other self. How are your other selves doing? What are they reflecting back to you that you could not find within yourself? How are their perspectives informing what you put together as your universe? These are questions that demand answers, but these answers will not be provided along the lines that put you at ease, my friends. Strive to have the faith and the confidence in your Creator that will let you grow into new perspectives. Work within the self, we suggest, to find the grounding of these perspectives so that you understand that what you already possess, what you already desire, what you already will to be, holds the keys to further transformation. And when you have found a place in yourself that is holy, stand there and become the Creator. Now, it is true, my friends, that the scepter of magical activity is not without peril. And we would caution all in this circle to exercise the most careful discernment of those feeling qualities within the self. For this is the material with which magic is working. You are invoking nothing but yourself, my friends. And so this is why our brothers and sisters of the complex of Ra have placed the knowing and acceptance of self before the great work of bringing one's full potential into manifestation through the use of ritual and the use of focus on an order that most on this plane do not consciously partake of. Oh yes, there is much magic about in the world. But it is magic that happens to mind, body, spirit complexes. It works upon them. And the great virtue of the adept is when that dynamic becomes transformed, shifted, turned about, and suddenly one is working upon the creation as the creator. The length of this working in time matters not, for it is as much a time-space operation as it is something you gesture and conjure and direct into existence with your actions. So, this is the takeaway, my friends. To unlock the keys to aligning the will with the creators, one must understand and accept the self. After all, it is out of the Creator's will that yours arises, and therefore you must trace back those deviations to their source. This is work that all will accomplish, and there is time and space aplenty for this work. What do you desire? This is what the magician chants out. This is what every babe newly born brings into our shared homes as the axe ring down, as planet Earth twists and turns through the dramas and intensities of late third density. There is no commandment from above, my friends, on what you shall desire. And in that act of free will, you have all of your power. It is strewn about you. It is an embarrassment of riches. You will wake and you will find yourself absolutely loaded up with that which you seek. Only here, behind the veil, can you choose a more focused or more distorted version of that desire. But it is your thread back to the one infinite creator. And this work will go on for quite some time. We of Monka share this path with you. It is difficult, we know, to think and feel, more importantly, on this level, while so much of what seems nonsensical occurs around you. That is a part of the creation working on you, eliciting from you your rejection, your acceptance, your confusion. When you have decided where you truly stand and call forth the glory and power of our Father, Mother, then you will know why all of this is truly part of that kernel of love that our one infinite Creator has placed very carefully within. And part of the mystery of individuation will feel more like home. I am Monka. We feel we have done what we can through this instrument's biases and distortions to express what we can of an answer to this question you have posed us. However, we have no illusions that we have exhausted this subject, and therefore, if there are further queries on the nature of what we have discussed, we would invite you to pose them to our complex at this time. I am Monka.
I have a question, Monka.
Please go ahead, my brother. I am Monka.
As we work, as we do work in this direction, and recognize daily the getting lost in the illusion, if you will. Do you have any recommendations on how to stay centered and come back to this higher will?
We are those of Monka and are aware of your thoughtful question, my brother. Let us begin thusly. What you have posed us is the very basis of third density work. If there is one characteristic to the polarization process that you benefit from and with which you struggle, it is in this primacy of finding a way to be the creator in this body, in this role, at this time, in this world. This is intimately wrapped up in another slogan, shall we say, which we of the Confederation return to on a frequent basis. that there is love in the moment. This love is your connection to the kernel placed within you. That flickering candle we have spoken of in past sessions with you. Now, finding the love in the moment is a dynamic of directing attention. For there is much that will happen in a mundane, earthly life that is precious and yet seems banal, seems lower than what you strive towards. That seemingness, that way in which reality presents you with a visage of mixed characteristics. That is the puzzle in which one looks around and finds the hidden figure of love, much as one might search for Waldo, and we offer this instrument the opportunity for a lighter moment. Now, it is in the search that one learns, my friend. It is in the search that one learns. For the creation is largely a dynamic phenomenon, you see. This is contained in its vibratory nature. The love that you seek may not obtain in great scale, so to speak. There may be, from your perspective, very little love to find. It may seem bizarre and alien. It may not look right. This is acceptable from our vantage point, but it will not seem acceptable from yours. So the work that you do to identify and place your finger on the love is what is teaching you. It is what makes every moment of third density ultimately redeemable, as dark and frustrated as it may seem at the moment. You see, in reality, finding the love in the moment may require you to invert the directionality of consciousness. And sometimes, my friend, as we have said before, when other selves do not give you an opportunity to locate this love in the way that seems approachable, and it is okay, my friend, we stress, for that approach to seem impossible at a given point in time. But the duality of our reality and the use of it in a polarized fashion offers an opportunity. For you are not separate from the situation in which you seek. You, my friend, you may hold the love. And it may be your place to be the creator in that moment. And to express within yourself the true character of what you have created. You now see, perhaps, how the crystal of the individual mind-body-spirit complex brings into our experience something that mere evolution, deterministically unfolding, cannot. It is so much responsibility. It is, in truth, quite a great deal of power. And yet, my friend, my brother, you came here into this illusion in order to glorify this process, to let this illusion refract a new but ever-present dimension of the unified nature of all. Now, we have not totally forgotten how mundane and day-to-day this search can become. It can seem that in the details of life, these higher or more profound questions are drowned out in the cacophony of what pulls your attention away and places it upon those duties, those activities that are in fact required in order for you not simply to continue your survival, but more importantly, to be where your brother and sister are and to show them that there is more going on than showing up at work or disciplining your child or watching the TV and getting lost in that aspect of creativity. It is no failure at all, and we cannot stress this enough, no failure at all to not find love in the moment, for it is quite challenging at times. You are not here to get straight A's. Remember where we started. The search for love is what teaches, whether you find it or not. And the lesson, the textbook, so to speak, is being written and will be reviewed by yourself for many, many ages to come. Let this hypothetical that is the illusion of third density life right itself and do what you can. You are here to be a human. And that is enough, my brother. If you can let that humanity pull slowly over time with patience, greater characteristics than you recognized previously, you have done quite a bit to serve our one infinite Creator and to serve your other selves. And if this is not an idea that puts you at ease, then, my brother, you now have something to take into meditation. Does this, in some way, address your question sufficiently, my brother?
Yes, it does. Thank you.
We are those of Monka and appreciate the place from which this question arose. Keep searching, my brother. Is there another query?
Monka, I have a question. You said earlier that surrendering our will to the will of the Creator feels like a compass needle, but that to read the compass, we need to identify and access resources outside of our shell of self. Can you tell us more about those resources?
We are of Monka and are aware of your question, my sister. Yes, if there is one thing we are struggling with this instrument, it is the paradox of outward focus and inward focus. For as he has discovered over the last few months, the fractal nature of the creation makes a locus difficult to nail down, so to speak. Now, in truth, we would like to expand upon this subject, but the expansion will not be very expansive, so to speak. For it is in the emptying out of the self that one becomes receptive to those influences and those opportunities, so to speak, that will change perspective and offer the kernel of individuality that is the Creator within new avenues of expression. You see, things come not to positive entities, my sister, but through them. And because this is so, there is work to be done on that shell, often, in the maelstrom of third density confusion and detail-ridden life. The details are not necessarily a distraction. However, it is typical for the second density characteristics to find a way into the awareness and overemphasize what is unique about some situation one finds oneself in. This is acceptable. But what we are pointing out in reaching outside the self is something quite simple. Asking for help. You must do this, my sister, if you wish to become more than you are now. Not everyone wishes this at a given moment in time. And this, too, is to be born and is not an issue for any seeker. But when one is ready, when one has learned over time, patient, careful, long time, that there is a piece of what one has pulled into one's orbit that no longer truly belongs in orbit, it can be allowed to drift away. And this creates an opening into which can pour the love and, more importantly, the light that creates a new horizon of consciousness. We cannot help but talk up, so to speak, this process, even though it is among the most simple in the spiritual suite of practices and approaches. So, let us sum it up. You must open up and ask for help by vibrating in this vulnerable and receptive manner. You become capable of being a self that you do not see yourself presently to be. And in this manner, you are able to see and feel, more importantly, where to walk next. For the compass must be attracted to something, and you must allow it to spin until it signals the direction that you desire. For that desire will reflect at a certain level of awareness and focus the Creator's desire in that moment, in that situation. Does this shed any light on our previously confused statement, my sister? We are those of Monka.
Yes, it does. Thank you.
We are gratified as those of the planet Monka and appreciate this opportunity to clarify something that we left unclear. Might we ask if there is a final question on this topic or on any topic before we part ways with this instrument and your circle? We are those of Monka. I am Monka, and the silence is roaring. This is very well, my friends. This instrument, too, diminishes in energy. And we would offer that the practice this instrument has engaged in has yielded fruit. Like we have said about the general third density experience, this act of serving as our instrument and an instrument for the Creator does not put one at ease. However, as we have recently spoken, this frank admission of discomfort and vulnerability and limitation to oneself goes quite far, my friends, quite far in doing the real work in consciousness. We are ever so appreciative of the spiraling energies that have been provided for this working, and congratulate all of you for participating in this unique confluence of awareness and energy. This instrument is also quite grateful for the opportunity that you have given him to strive towards a more beautiful world that we all see in our hearts. And if you can continue to hold each other in love and trust and strength, it is thereby only a matter of time before we can realize on this planet, as we eventually realized on the planet Monka, peace and the security of love, the comfort of the common shared struggle to be, to realize, to love the mystery and majesty of our one infinite Creator. We are Monka, and at this time, my friends, we shall bid you adieu. Adonai Vazu Baragas.